Welcome to Nesha Talks. Thank you always for your comments, your suggestions, your opinions. This is a platform created for you to get a free consultation with the expert himself, Dr. Nelson Makemba. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
It's always a pleasure being here, and I'm excited and looking forward to these talks that you're going to hold today.
Yeah, for the past 4 episodes, we've received a lot of good feedback and comments. Just for the audience, where is Nesha Medical Practice situated at, and how can they get hold of yourself?
Yeah, first and foremost, Nesha Medical Practice is a general practice, meaning that we are the jack of all trades. We basically see everybody. We are in the heart of Windhoek North. We are in Oyefar Street. Our address is R209, just across from Central Hospital main entrance. Our information and contact details are also provided for on our website, which is www.neshamedical.com, or they can call us on 061 that is 220778, and we'll be more than happy to receive everybody that want to make use of our services.
Great stuff. Doc, we appreciate that you're willing to speak on social issues when it comes to health. You're able to give your expertise, your wisdom, your advice. Like we always say, it's free consultation here online. Please remember to subscribe, like, and also give your comments. So today it's very important. It's about men's health.
Yes.
And June month represents that.
Yeah.
If we're going to ask all the questions, we can talk from a mental, spiritual, physical point of view. But why is men's health so important?
Yeah, the aspect of addressing men's health, has actually evolved over the years. First and foremost, it's very important to create awareness surrounding men's health because, in general, men are not that good at health-seeking behavior. Oftentimes, we see them coming to our offices when their condition has already progressed rather to an advanced stage where we can't do much. So we are trying to change the narrative. We want to encourage men to also seek, medical consultation and assistance well on time so that if there are issues, they are picked up on time and managed promptly. Historically, we have been seeing that, ladies tend to come and see us as more often compared to men, and oftentimes men comes only when it's way too late and there's little that can be done.
Why is that, Doc?
We're trying to change that narrative. I think it's just, a personality thing. Men tend to, have that, the tradition is, when we were being raised, we told, boys don't cry, get yourself together. So men grow up with that thing in them to say, look, I'm a man, it's just a headache, it will go away. Yeah. Then you'll be sitting on that headache for a good 1 month, lo and behold, maybe there's some problems that is happening in his brain. Or he might have any other problems, and they just probably think to himself, look, it will go away. I'm a man, I can handle this. And by the time they actually present to our clinics, oftentimes it's very late. So the idea now is to sort of encourage men to always make time and, have themselves even routinely checked out without necessarily having a problem that they're presenting with.
Proactive. They say prevention is better than cure.
Yeah.
Doc, where do we even start with the kinds of men's health? I mean, we can talk about reproductive and even, the health sector when it comes to fertility, etc. We can speak about mental health awareness. We can speak about, diabetes, etc. When we speak about men's health, what is that most important focus area that we focus on for men?
I'll probably say the key areas are things like prostate cancer, for instance, especially when a man is aged 40 years and older. That is really the time to be very, mindful of having their prostate evaluated on a yearly basis. And when they climb to their 5th decade, they must actually check it every 6 months. Particularly men of African descent, we know that the kind of prostate cancer we see in black African men is very aggressive, and often when picked up late, it can actually be way advanced and there's not much that can be done. High blood pressure is also one of those things, simply because also when we grow older men, we tend to put on triangle obesity. Our obesity is mainly concentrated on the abdomen and on the chest. That sort of suffocate the vital organs, especially when you are men and you start picking up weight, just make sure that you have your sugar checked, you have your cholesterol checked, and also your blood pressure monitored properly. And if it tend to go up, the best is to have it treated well on time, because that also runs the risk of developing kidney failure. If your blood pressure is not controlled, you might run into problems with developing strokes, for instance, and you might actually end up with a heart attack or even a heart failure. And also mental health, men tend to sort of, shy away from expressing how they feel emotionally. They sort of just, keep it in there. They don't talk about it. They die a slow death painfully, and they don't know who to turn to.
In silence.
In silence, definitely. So the idea is also that, as men, we need to develop that ability to communicate. Go out there, see your doctor, and tell them if you're not in a good space emotionally, the doctor can then help you, or might even refer you to a psychologist, where you can go and just, let go of those, stuff that are in there. Speak to somebody who's trained, who is able to listen and give you that listening ear without judging you, and then obviously guide you through the process. So in a nutshell, these are some of the key areas, and obviously, looking at just general fitness, I think particularly in the 21st century, maybe we are doing well on the fitness aspect, because you find us in the gym lifting those weights.
Is it just for the gram, Doc,
know.
or do we really take it seriously? Because some would, take photos just to show I've got this routine.
Sometimes it can also just be for the grams, But I think, the idea of going to the gym, for instance, you see also a lot of men cycling nowadays,
and marathon runners.
Yeah, marathon runners as well. Those are actually good spaces, because they improve your cardiovascular function. They actually keep your peripheries, which is your soft tissue, sensitive to the insulin. Your risk of developing diabetes goes down. Your risk of developing heart complications. And also, exercise is anti-aging. You can actually delay aging and looking a bit older if you are given to exercise, definitely. Okay. And remember also the endorphins, which is feel-good hormones. If you do exercise, and if men exercise continuously, they tend to have a confident. When they get up in the morning, look in the mirror, they feel good about themselves. And when a man feels good about himself, he's able to love his partner better. Because if he has no confidence, he feels that other men are better than him. That might also affect his relationship with his partner.
And not only just, the healthy fitness, but also diet, lifestyle. What kind of key concepts or areas would Doc advise for a male, especially when it comes to healthy consumption for a male?
We always, use the phrase, everything in moderation. Obviously, sometimes it's better to enjoy the finer things of life. But obviously, making sure that you are well hydrated, they must drink enough fluids, particularly, and to be specific, water, fruits and vegetables, Once in a while, you can indulge, yes, that's okay, but just, make sure that you are moderating, make sure that the food that you're consuming are not this fast food all the time. I know we are in a very career-driven space, especially in the 21st century. You find the wife is at work, the man is at work, we all knock off after 5 and we're all tired to just pick up a box of something somewhere in the restaurant. Once in a while, that's okay. But if you make that your daily habit, it might not necessarily be a good idea. And also remember with men, especially as we grow older, we need to keep the weight issue at bay. We make sure that our blood is circulating very well, because also that will now end up, affecting your sexual life. Because if a man is obese and his circulation is not so good, there's no blood flowing into his groin, he might suffer with erectile dysfunction, for instance, and the queen might not be too happy at home. And the worst assumption is at times men comes to our clinic and they say, Doc, I just have a difficulty getting this guy up, man. And then when I get home, now wifey thinks I'm, having, somebody I'm visiting somewhere else. But it just generally the man is getting old and maybe he's not circulating very well. So these are some of the key things that men need to be mindful, particularly once you hit the age of 40 and older.
I think last but not least, just to bring this conversation to an end, how important is discussing men's health with a household, be it the spouse or even being the family, when it comes to breaking news? I have prostate cancer. I've got diabetes. I've got such, personal information. How important is communication about your health status to the family?
I think probably the first point of call, in my opinion, is when it comes to such, and the man is really in a sticks where there's issues that he's struggling with, the best is to make sure that you bring your spouses along to the clinic. When I'm, busy talking to you, running those tests, your partner is your wife or your girlfriend is sitting next to you. They're able to hear that from their horse. Firsthand.
Sure.
And then obviously if it's a spousal situation, maybe where you're married and you've got children and there's chronic illnesses and diagnosis of such, also find, a safe space to sort of talk to the kids. What men and in general parents tend to do, especially if they are handed a chronic diagnosis such as cancer or something that is life-threatening, they tend to keep that from the children, thinking that, not telling the children is actually
protecting
better.
them.
Protecting them.
Which is the opposite.
Which is the opposite, because when the kids find out that there's a problem and maybe it's at the end stage of it, they feel betrayed. They were not given time to prepare for a possibility that mom or dad might no longer be with us. And the news is just given to us, 3 months and the person is gone. And at times, sometimes the children find out when the parents are already on the dying bed. And that can be very painful because the children, when given that space to readjust to the idea of that, this individual might not be here anymore. So, people need to be open to talking to their children about, this kind of diagnosis. Obviously, depending on how old the kids are, and obviously using the language that they're able to sort of assimilate. And if there's a need for psychological support, then that is initiated well on time so that the children are able to, walk the journey with you as well. And when you go to the hospital, they can go with you at times, if there's special needs such as dietary needs, they would know how to prepare food if they're old enough to be in the kitchen. So these are the kind of things, and particularly in this part of the world, in our setting, in the African setting, parents have this thing of keeping things from the kids, thinking that that's good parenting. But, the world has changed now.
It has.
We need to be open to our children and tell them what's cooking.
Yeah. Transparency
is
the best policy.
Is the best policy, definitely.
Thank you so much for the time, and also just giving us a different perspective on things in life.
Yeah.
We appreciate. Thank you so much, Doc.
It's always
Next
a pleasure.
month we will be back.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So there you have it on Nesha Talks every single month. Subscribe, like, share. For anyone that needs to get the message, next month we'll be back with a different topic. Thank you so much.